Hello, Charles Knapp back again, and we're going to do a quick video. Some additional information was realized in the last couple of days. We'll start kind of where we left off with the Alibi Elf. We did mention the ace on the sleeve, and I don't believe we talked about the triangle here. We might have. So let's continue here and see where it takes us. We were also talking about the West Ghost, and this is very interesting because after talking about the Alibi Elf, some things obviously popped out informational wise, and you can see right here this line that goes across here. Call this the shadow line. This is a shadow puzzle. You can see there's an ace over here on the camera, and if you look really close on the wheel, right there you can see an ace. So we're going from ace to ace. We talked about giant, and giant connecting to San Francisco and New York. In this case, we're talking about West Coast, which is California, which is San Francisco. We talked about the lady flinching from the water fountain, the drinking fountain at Coit Tower. Well, so let's see how this works out. Let's see if that's what's going on. Here's some wordplay. You get rid of the word palm and put shadow down the shadow line. And obviously they're dodging from the West Ghost, but down the shadow line. So remember that. So looking at that, we also talked about where the eyes are looking on Alibi Elf. Well, lo and behold, she's looking up here and he's looking right there. So why is that important? Let's take a closer look. And what we have is this right here is a parallelogram. And if you look at a square from the side, you might see something like that. Now he's holding his marker that he made the shadow line with. Now, why is that important? That the West Ghost is making a shadow line. You can see that here, the triangle, and I've just drawn this in here so you can remember, and we'll see this again in a second here. That's a close-up. Well, lo and behold, what makes a shadow over here? The drinking fountain. That's representing the drinking fountain. That's representing the square. There's our ace in the middle of the square. The triangle that we'll be looking for is off the corner. So the shadow line is made by the drinking fountain at Coit Tower. You can see on here the ace. And there's wordplay, because remember the verse that goes with San Francisco, a giant step to the place the cask is kept. Well, place is a, quote, typographical terror. In other words, it's wordplay. So you're going from the ace, the water fountain, to this ace. And where is that second ace? Shadow line, like we were talking about, down the shadow line. From an ace to the place the cask is kept. We've talked about 3 feet and 5 feet and those numbers and where they're showing up. We've talked about a leg length and 3 feet. It's all fitting together. And if you do, I showed the sun calc. You plug in the numbers for June, early in June at 6 o'clock, 1800, the sun is going to be to the west at an azimuth of 279. And the shadow is going to the east. So you'll be taking a step to the east. Now, this is a depiction, obviously, of the shadow. So that shadow might be off a little bit up here, it might be a little bit over here. But you get the point. You're taking a step down the shadow line. And lo and behold, if you go from West Ghost back to Alibi Elf, And we've talked about this. If you want to look at the other video, Nixon, or Tricky Dick, he's looking down at this area right here. Where's his eyes are looking. And you have to look closely. There's the dot. There's the ace. It's there. And if you look, that's why he's holding up the glasses. You have to look closely. Put your reading glasses on. Use your magnifier. That's the purpose of the glasses that he's holding up. You can see here the shadow line extends like right behind him. And so down the shadow line to the ace. You have an ace, you have an ace, but you're going from ace to ace, 3 papers, 3 feet. You're going to step to the place the cask is kept. Seeing this over and over again. 3 pages, 3 feet. The shoes, and you also see on Job Goblin, you'll see the same thing, which is San Francisco. Look at the shoes. The guy hanging down from the rope that has a loophole in it. And we've talked about this. 5 and 3. You'll see the same thing. You'll see 5 and 3, and you'll find those numbers in a 3, 4, 5 triangle, which is a right triangle. That's another way to get to where we're going. And also, you see the briefcase is strategically placed because you're going from the corner, taking a giant step. That explains what's happening. That puts us there. So we have 2 cartoon arts in the back of the book that localize where the cask was placed. And that's the purpose of the back of the book. It localizes where the casks are buried. Can you find that spot using just the art and the verse in the front? Sure you can. Yep. If you follow it and you figure out the word play, you figure out the water fountain, I mean, you can figure that stuff out. The back of the book just really helps out. It helps you localize. And we're going to stop right there. This is the Alibi Elf, and that was on another video. Have a nice day.